So welcome. So the purpose for tonight's program is really to show off our star projector. And that's that big blue ball sitting there in the middle of the room. This machine was made by a company called Konica Minolta. They're popular for making lenses and cameras and a whole slew of things. But they also make a line of star projectors, and this is their very top of the line model. And not only is this one of the finest star projectors in the country, but it is actually one of the best star projectors in the entire world. This machine costs nearly $1.5 million, and it is truly an example of where star projectors have come over the course of about 100 years. By the way, the first star projector ever unveiled to the public was in the year 1923. It was on the rooftop of another lens factory, this time in Germany, at a factory called the Zeiss Manufacturing Company. They're still in existence, and for the first time, they set up a dome on the top of their building, and they installed a projector. And never before had anybody ever seen a reproduction of the nighttime sky. And then once people got a glimpse of that, then, well, museums and school districts and nature centers all over the United States and now the world have had planetariums installed. Now, planetariums of old were very pretty. They looked like real nighttime sky and real pretty stars, but we were always stuck on Earth. You could look at the sky, but we couldn't move around. Now, we have the amazing capability to jump off of Earth and fly anywhere in the known universe. So we'll have an opportunity to do a little bit of that today too. But we're really going to push this star projector to its limits. Now, I did not set it up yet, and I did this on purpose so you folks can see how this machine moves. So we need to tell it where we live, and I'm talking about our coordinate system of latitude and longitude. Here in Centerport, we're about 41 degrees north of the equator. And our longitude, just so happens here in Centerport, we are precisely 73 degrees west of the prime meridian. All right, so I'll run the machine now. And if you follow my pointer, by the way, this is where the machine currently sits. First number is latitude, second one is longitude. All right, I'll run the system now, so you folks can see how this machine will sort of twist and turn to find those coordinates that I just entered into the system. And hopefully it'll stop right where it should. And for $1.5 million, I think it should. And there we go. Now when I turn on the sky, it should be a mirror image of what we can see right over our heads, anywhere on Long Island. Before I do that though, I'd like to share a photograph that I took while flying in a small airplane called a Cessna. Now, I'm not a pilot by any means, but I do have a buddy that is, and he was really nice enough to take me on a flight over the North Shore of Long Island. So his name is Gordon. I said, hey Gordon, do you think we can fly over the Vanderbilt property? We did, and I had a little point-and-shoot camera at the time, so I snapped this photograph. Obviously, it was a cold winter day, but you can see the entire Vanderbilt property here. There's about 76 acres of property, and this is where he lived. This is the mansion that once belonged to William K. Vanderbilt II, and from what I understand, he only lived there about 2 weeks out of the entire year. Adjacent to his home, he had a 9-hole golf course. And if you're familiar with the property, we have a marine museum, and supposedly, as the story goes, he would tee off the top of that building and then begin the game and end up behind the mansion. Now, the only reason why I'm pointing out the golf course tonight is because this is where our local astronomy club sets up telescopes twice a month, and I mention that because it's free. It's open to the public, so everybody in the audience today is welcome to join us. I hope you keep this in mind. I have a little brochure that I'll hand out at the end of the program. So here are a couple of pictures that I took over the summertime last year, and this is some of the club members. This night was awesome. We had, I'd say, about 25 telescopes set up. We had a Boy Scout group come join us, and a smattering of people from the public too. And this is a really good time to join us. And I mention that because you can look through multiple telescopes with very well-informed people that are super friendly, and they just love showing off their toys being their telescopes. And again, I have a little brochure back here that I'll hand out at the end of the program. All right, you can probably see the dome of the planetarium in this picture. If you don't know where it is, it's right here. So this is where we're currently sitting. There's actually 2 domes on this building. This is the outer one, keeps out the elements like snow and rain. And this is our big projection screen. We call it a dome, but outside we don't call it a dome. We give it a real name. And you may have noticed if you're ever in a big field or a desert or perhaps in a boat in an open ocean at nighttime, the stars really do look like a gigantic upside-down bowl. And outside we call it the celestial sphere. Celestial referring to stars, and we all know what a sphere shape is. But we only see half of the sphere at any given time. So this is why we have a dome over our heads. And this body of water right here, this is not quite Long Island Sound. That is called Northport Harbor. And in order for us to have a nice big sky or a celestial sphere, I am going to transport all of us into the middle of the harbor here. We can pretend we're on a boat or a dock. Okay, so let's make our transition now. I'll start out with a daytime sky, so let's get some clouds like we had this afternoon. There goes our planetarium sun, all towards the right. And if you take a full look around the perimeter of the planetarium here, this is sort of like a panoramic view of Northport Harbor. This is not a photograph, this is a painting. This was done by a staff artist several years ago. His name is Steve Moore. And so he took photographs of his artwork, sort of stitched it together, and so now we have our imaginary planetarium neighborhood. All right, folks, I'm going to ask some questions tonight, and I hope you join me and call out your answers. And for the younger ones in the audience, by the way, this is not your typical classroom, okay? So you don't have to raise your hand. You can call out your answers. But my first question is this. In which compass direction does the sun rise? East. Very good. So we're getting our bearings here. We have a little letter E above our exit sign. This represents exactly east or due east. So if the sun rises from the eastern portion of the sky, where does it always set?
West.
West. Very good. Where's west? Good. I'm glad you're all pointing in the right direction. There's a little letter W over here. This is due west. And my big bonus question is this. In which compass direction do we always find the sun at 12 o'clock noon, right around lunchtime? And I'll give you a hint, it's never straight up for us. Somebody said south, and that is correct. We have a little letter S in front of us, and then, well, obviously, opposite of south is north, which is a little letter N above my head back here. So if you're outside stargazing, or you like to find things in the nighttime sky, you really need to know what your compass directions are. And there's some tricks to doing that, and I'll get back to that in just a second. All right, so at 12 o'clock noon, the sun was over here. So can you folks guess what time I've set the theater to? Just by looking at the sun? Any guesses here?
6 a.m.
What was that? 4. Very good. You hit the nail right on the head. All right, I talked enough. What I'd like to do right now is play a little music so we can all really sit back, relax, and enjoy our planetarium sunset. Now you'll notice the sun will set off a little bit towards the northwest today, and that's because of the tilt of planet Earth. And we're starting to enjoy the longer days, and we're headed towards summer. So when that happens, the sun shifts towards the north, and this is how we enjoy our longer days. Okay, here we go.
at the Vanderbilt Planetarium. I thought it was very informative with the constellations, and I didn't know this much about astronomy. And they offered a program and clubs about stargazing, and in the summer you can come and look through telescopes and they'll educate you about anything that you have questions on. And it was really breathtaking watching this night sky come to life, even on a rainy night.
really enjoyed the planetarium show today. My favorite star was Betelgeuse. It was very interesting. As a Scorpio, I also enjoyed learning about the star that pertains to my zodiac sign.